Hi guys, here is Sven again, the case tester. Today's video is once about the iPhone 15 Pro and the best cases for it. And today we have 6 cases in the test for you. They were tested by me for accuracy of fit, protection, feel, workmanship, and of course the price-performance ratio. Here are the 6 cases. We have everything with us. We have Apple with us, we have ROXX with us, we have Apple with us, we have Torras with us, we have Spigen with us, and we have Rhinoshield with us. So everything your heart desires, so to speak. And yes, I would say we are starting with the first case now. I haven't made a ranking list. Take a look at the pros and cons, because for everyone there's something else that's a buying criterion or a no-go. And yes, as I said, decide for yourself which case is the best for you if you want to buy any of these cases. And in the video description is a link to the products. There are all the pros and cons again listed, and there you will also find the link to the respective case. I have listed it again correctly. That is iPhone 14, X5 Plus, X5 Pro, X5 Pro Max. So that you do not order the wrong one at the end, has also happened to me often. So I wish you a lot of fun with the video. So, we start with the first case, and it comes from Apple. This is the silicone case. I think almost all of you know it. I bought it on Amazon for over €1. Yes, I know, gross. I'll turn off my emails here because that disturbs. Yes, that's how the case looks. Actually the same as before, except for this button here, if you can see it. I hope you can see it. It's for this new action button here on the iPhone XY Pro, of course. Yes, we'll start with the benefits. Ingenious material. We have a silicone gel mixture here, which we've known for a long time. It feels mega cool in the hand, but it also has a few drawbacks. We'll talk about that later. We also have a hard case here. I'll explain that now once at the beginning of the video. You can't squeeze anything with this case. This means that if you drop it, the hard case will break before you even get the shock to the phone. And of course, this silicone casing cushions the whole thing nicely. Microfiber we have up to the corners. That goes in here really nice. That means that if that famous grain of sand gets in your way, it's simply held in here, can't slide around, and won't scratch the new titanium back of your iPhone XV Pro. That's nice too. Next advantage, you have a screen protector. I'll put the iPhone inside. If you wanted to know why this animation always comes up, I've read up on it. There's some NFC wire in there, and the fake cases don't have that. That's why these animations don't appear on these fake cases. So by screen protector, I mean this one. That means if you drop your iPhone, the display is not on top of it, so it can't get broken. Unless, of course, it falls on some strange stone or something. Yes, we also have a camera protector. You see, the lenses don't stick out. That means I can put it down like that without the lenses blowing up. MagSafe is on board with all original Apple cases. The buttons, I guess you can hear that, have a perfect and audible pressure point. That's how you recognize high quality cases. The next advantage is the cutouts. They're individually recessed here. I love that when it's like that. Then little dust and dirt gets in there. And the last advantage, this case is compatible with all bulletproof glasses. Except, I think, the really big ones. You really have to try it out for yourself. As I said, with these big bulletproof glasses, it's always a thing. But here, it looks like it fits. Disadvantages. Expensive. Yeah, sure. A case for about €1 is already hefty. You don't have a real black here. I think it's this midnight. It's a bit of a very, very dark grey, I'll call it. Disadvantages of silicone. It attracts more dust and dirt, of course. I think it's statically charged or something. And silicone doesn't slide so well into pockets. If you have tight pants pockets, my sweatpants, it's not a problem. Yeah, let's get to the bottom line for this hull. The sleeve is very expensive. But for that you get a lot offered, and even with Apple logo on the back. If you can do without it, you can still take an alternative. Many of you probably know it. The cover from ROXX is the same, but only costs a few euros. As I have seen in the pictures, this one seems to simply have a cutout and no button. Take a look for yourself. I'll link you that, as I said, on my blog. So, let's move on to the next video, to the next video, to the next cover. So, the next cover is from ROXX. This came out sometime last year. I really celebrated it. I used it for a really long time, or rather, I still use them. For my iPhone 14, it's this Next Era case. which costs €2.8 in the store €1 cheaper. I link you that, as I said, all on my blog, the page I have linked you below. And this is what this cover looks like. This is a very pleasant material. You have the material here from the original iPad case, if you know that one. So it feels really high quality, I have to say. And you don't have any silicone disadvantages. You kind of have the same protection as a silicone case outside of not having the disadvantages anymore. Yes, the whole thing is light and really slim. You'll see that right away when I put the iPhone in it. These edges are really nice and thin. We have a hard case here as well. I can't squeeze anything at all here. The same advantage as with the Apple case. You also have end protection here. However, not up to the edges, but only up to here. You have a display protection. I'll show you that. You can see that the edge protrudes a good bit here. That means you don't have to worry if you put the phone down or drop it. The lenses don't stick out either. That means there is no problem here either. So, we have MagSafe on board. I can't show it to you right now, but it holds just like the original cases. What's nice here is you have metal buttons in here, and that's also up here. And they all have a perfect and audible pressure point. So it is really made in a high quality, you have to say, for the price. Next advantage, recess, all good. Yes, nothing is covered here. That's what I mean by recess, of course. Armored glasses you can actually use all with here too, because this case doesn't really go far over the edge towards there. And yes, as I just mentioned on the benefits, on the level, this is really cheap. Apple could have actually sold them that way. I don't think you would have noticed a difference. So let's move on to the disadvantages of this case. As I said, the inner protection doesn't go up here, but really only up to the edge. And the speakers are not individually cut out, like on the, or as I said, like on the Apple case straight. That would have still been really cool. Those were the only drawbacks of this case. Can you also look at me on the channel? There I have once, so I think made a 5 or 6 month conclusion with it, where I had the actually almost always drum. Take a look, it's interesting. So let's come to the conclusion for this cover. For me, this silicone case from Apple, or also the one from ROXX, was always the best. You just had to live with the disadvantages of silicone. It attracts more dust and dirt, and does not slide as easily in the pocket. We no longer have these disadvantages with this next era case, but all the advantages are still there. So let's move on to the next case. Which is Apple's FineWoven. It's a brand new case that's supposed to replace Apple's leather case, because they don't want to produce leather cases anymore. I think that's actually quite good. Whether I find this case quite good, you will now find out. So let's get the good piece out and have a look. I have it here in blue. And it costs €69. I think that's Apple's most expensive case now for the iPhone. The others, I think, all cost $59. But alright, let's see what this thing's got going for it. So, let's start with the benefits. The material is cool. It feels so velvety. It doesn't feel like an iPhone case, it feels like something else. I don't know what it feels like. Drop it in the comments sometime. We have a hard case here as well. Everything is hard here. You know the advantages. We have some kind of interior protection here. This is not microfiber. This is the same material on the outside as on the inside, I think. Whether that really holds a grain of sand, I dare to doubt a little bit. We have a screen protector here. Again, this animation here. Here's the screen protector. We have MagSafe on board, of course, and we also have a camera protector, as you can see. The lenses don't stick out. We have metal buttons here. I think these are metal buttons. That's really cool, of course. It's really premium right away because of that. The cutouts are all well done too, as you can see. Nothing is covered there either. And you can actually use all the armored glasses here as well, because the case doesn't really go too far over. Those were the advantages. Let's move on to the disadvantages. And that is the material. I don't mean the material itself because it's scratch prone or something, but it somehow doesn't fit the iPhone. You touch it and you feel like you're holding something else, but not an iPhone. I don't know how to explain it, but for me, it just doesn't fit the iPhone. What I also don't like, we just have such a sturdy rubber frame here. That's what you know from these cheap cases. And I don't think that fits a case with an Apple logo on the back. And it doesn't fit ER&R either, which brings us to the penultimate point. And that is, of course, the price. I think everyone complains about that. And let's come to the last point, and that is the material itself. If you take a look at the Amazon reviews or read them on the internet, this material is really susceptible to dirt and such. That's also noticeable I've got dust everywhere on it again. So the silicone case is really an angel against that, I'll say that now. And yes, it is supposed to scratch easily. I have also scratched a bit with my fingernail on it. However, I cannot confirm that it is now immediately broken here when I go over it with my fingernail. But yes, it is probably not durable, this cover, as you can also see on the internet. Let's get to the bottom line for this sleeve. Apple's new FineWeave or fine fabric case should replace the leather case. I don't think people will be happy with it, especially at the price. Post it in the comments if you've switched to this case and used to have a leather case. So, we'll move on to the next case. So, the next case comes from Spigen, and that was the liquid air. It's the cheapest one in our test with on Amazon. Dougal for about 0 out of 10. This is what the good piece looks like. Nose one actually. Have we already often had in the tests. Has now also really not really what changed. Advantages, display protection. You see that hole stands a good bit over. We also have camera protection. It also stands over here. We have an RT end protection, as you have just seen. That is this typical victory pattern. This means that if this grain of sand gets in here now, it just slides along this line. You, of course, still scratch the back. The cover is corrugated for better grip. Here we have such corrugations, and also in the back we have such a pattern on it, so it doesn't actually slip out of the hand easily. The buttons, except for here above, have good audible pressure point. Recesses are also all good, as you can see. Nothing is covered. Armored glass, as you can hear. I think here you can no longer use all, because that already goes a bit over here, everything. If you take these with black frames, I think that no longer fits. Respectively, it is pressed up here on the sides. And with a Wa Sebzen Euro 79, the whole thing is not expensive compared to the other sleeves. Let's come to the disadvantages. You don't have a hard case here. This is just such a rubber piece, you can just make it together. Accordingly, you don't have a MagSafe in here either, and I think that if you look at it again, the new iPhone has become really slim, the display edges have become smaller, but if you put a part like this around it, then you have the feeling of a thicker iPhone 13 or something in your hand. I don't know, tell me what you think. Let's come to the conclusion for this case. If you are looking for thick and cheap protection without MagSafe for your new iPhone Kotif, this is of course the best case. So, the next case comes from Torras. This is the Guardian Mag. I bought it on Amazon for $29.99. Probably know some from my tests. This is what it looks like. Yes, advantage. Pleasant material. It's a plastic back and such a hard rubber frame. However, it doesn't feel cheap now or anything. You also have a hard case here, so the back is hard. Here, as I said, hard rubber renders, also protects well. We have a screen protector. Here you can see it. At the same time, we also have a camera protector on the back. We have MagSafe on board, so that holds up well too. We have interchangeable buttons here still for the design lovers among you who need a little bit of a new look more often than not. We have the knobs with perfect pressure point. Everything works great here. There is nothing to complain about. The cutouts are also well made. Again, nothing is covered, and you can use here. No, here I think you cannot all armored glass. This goes quite far over the frame again. That means that you can have problems with these black armored glasses, so that the whole thing is pushed up again on the side. Yes, let's look at the disadvantages of this case. We have two of them. We don't have any inner protection on the back because it's so semi-transparent. The Apple logo also peeks out a little bit, as you can see. And yeah, it's pretty thick when you look at it. Those were the drawbacks. Let's get to the bottom line. The Torras case makes a very good impression. It has all the protective features, except for the interior protection. If you don't mind the thickness of the case, you can buy it here. So, let's move on to the next case. So the last case in our test comes from Rhinoshield, and that is the solid suit case. Some of you may know it. I have also had it in the test several times. And this is what the good piece looks like. So let's put that away here. So first advantage, the part is quite robust, accordingly also quite thick. So the protection is really good. Let's move on to the next advantage. This is the hard case. We have here, yes, so the back is hard. And here we have really, really thick hard rubber tenders. We have kind of an interior protection. I don't know if that's what Rhinoshield is touting, if that's an interior protection as well. However, if a grain of sand comes between here, for example, then it actually sticks here well. Maybe slides around a bit. It's definitely much better than if you just had a smooth, yes, surface here. Let's move on to the next advantage, which is the screen protector. Let's put the phone inside. You can see there's a really good bit over here. That means you don't have to worry if you drop your phone or put it down like that. We have the same thing at the back with the camera lenses. They don't stick out either. You've just seen the MagSafe, which we have on board. It's also really tight. The buttons have a good audible pressure point. That's how it should be. We come to the next advantage. These are the cutouts. Everything is well done here. Nothing is covered. And the last advantage, nope, that's not an advantage. You can use small bulletproof glasses here. I wouldn't use the big ones here. Again, this cover goes over it a really good bit. That means with black bulletproof lenses that have a black frame like that, you could have problems. Those were the advantages. Let's move on to the disadvantages. A shell of USD.USD.O. I didn't even mention at the beginning. That's how expensive this hull is. That's quite a lot. Let's put it this way. And the second disadvantage I don't like, this thing is pretty thick. So you have to know for yourself if you want to have something like that or not. It would be just too thick for me. Let's come to the conclusion for the Rhinoshield. Rhinoshield offers, as always, good quality and best protection, but you have to compromise on the feel of the iPhone because the edge becomes 3 times as thick. This one times not. So that was the last case in the test. I also have a clear case video coming soon. Check out my channel if you want to watch the video later. And if you want to buy any of these cases, as I said, and in the video description is a link to my blog. Click on it. You will land on this overview of all these tested cases. There you can see all the disadvantages again, and there I have also linked everything so that you do not buy the wrong thing. So, if you don't want to miss such videos in the future, you should definitely become a subscriber. Leave a thumbs up, I would be very happy. And I say as always, until the next video.